Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to the nighttime. Of course, I'm speaking softly. The kids are asleep, and today I am bringing you another herbal video. So, a remedy for an ailment that you could solve herbally. And I think all of us can handle this one. It's super simple. The last video or the last few that I've done, some people have expressed that it may be too intimidating or complicated. I promise you, if I can do this, you absolutely can. I am a classic overthinker when it comes to medicinals, but I am starting off with an easy one. And I feel like this one can really come to light nowadays just because of a few things that are going on, a few articles that I have been reading recently that are a bit frightening. But first, if you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Tori. I do preparedness on a budget here on the channel. We upload 3 to 4 times a week, all about life here in Northern Colorado. So if you want to be part of our little YouTube family here, we would love it if you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. That really helps out the channel. And I wanted to say that I do have another channel, and that's more lifestyle and going out the day-to-day on our little homestead here. So if you're interested in that type of content, definitely hit the subscribe button. That would really mean the world to my family. We are close to a big milestone over there, and it would just be so helpful. So without further ado, let's get right into this. I did want to turn you around and show you what we're working with today, but I did want to start off with what prompted this. And I have read an article recently. I've shared it on social media, and it is an article that I've done some deep research on. I get very nervous about my sources, especially now when it comes to news and the media. I am typically trying to stay away from it, but if I find something that sparks my interest, I am going to research it for days until I figure out where it's coming from. And I am hoping it's not a biased opinion, but I mean, that is exactly what an opinion is in my mind. But yeah, anyways, I saw that the CDC has now I guess they released or they are releasing a vaccine for infants, newborns, and it's to treat RSV. And during the clinical trials, 12 innocent newborns passed away. And that breaks my heart. Typically, I'm not talking about that kind of thing on the channel, so that doesn't happen all the time if you're new here, but that's frightening to me. And they just went ahead and reviewed it and approved it. So that's what's scary. I find that RSV can be a little scary. Yes, my son has had it. My son has had human metapneumovirus as well, all from daycare. I am fortunate that my kids are home with me right now, so we haven't gotten sick in a while, knock on wood. But if we do, I have some herbal remedies to aid in that, and I think a lot of us can do that. This is approachable. I understand that's a bit intimidating, and the hospital and medicines can always be used. They always can be used, but I find that a lot of these can be treated with home remedies, and I don't think it's talked about a lot. So again, I know RSV can be very scary. We were always told the story of if you kiss a baby, they can get RSV and they have no way of protecting themselves, and I get that. It is terrifying. I'm a mother of 3, but I have found some ways to, I guess, not get around it, but for your kids and yourself, it would aid in this. So I'm hoping this is helpful. I do have to say I'm not a doctor. These are just things that I have done to aid in our bouts with the winter season. And with everything going on, there could be a lot of sickness coming to your home during the winter season. So I'm hoping this will help. And I do know that it is safe for my children. My children are 3 and 4, and then my newborn is almost 3 months, so not even a newborn anymore. I would not give this to her. So that's very important to say. This would not be something I would give to her, but to each their own. I would not suggest doing it. There are other ways to treat RSV in very young children, and I'm not going to speak on that because, again, I'm not a doctor, but I am confident that these have helped my children in the past, and I started it as young as 2, so I think these will help. we are going to do a basic tea. So what you're gonna need is a tea bag. I get some non-bleached, just muslin fabric ones on Amazon. I will link everything down below. You're gonna need some chamomile. You're gonna need some organic lemongrass, and that's really just for an invigorating flavor. But then you are gonna need thyme leaf, and this is the powerhouse. I like to grow this in my garden, then grind it down, but Natural Grocers coming in clutch because they have a very affordable little apothecary, I like to call it, with their herbs. And typically these are culinary herbs, but these work just fine as well. And then another thing I did want to mention is elderberries. I find that elderberry syrup is the best aid when it comes to sicknesses like RSV, the flu, other things that I don't really feel like mentioning on here, but you get my gist. The elderberry I get comes from Sprouts, but you can also get it at Natural Grocers, and it comes in this dried form. I find that it's easily found in those grocery stores, but if you want to go online, it's super easy to find as well. Of course, we'll link it. But with elderberries, they can be a little bit tricky. Like a cherry pit, they do contain cyanide, and that is something that could be a little harmful to our bodies. So if you are growing it, I'm sure you know all about elderberry and what you can do with it and how you can use it medicinally. But if you are just a regular old Joe like me getting it at the grocery store, when you get it dried like this isn't something you just like pop and eat. That would be very harmful to you. So you need to cook it down. That is what I do. I just cook it down into a syrup. You can sweeten it with some local honey, and it's great immune defense during those seasons of sickness. And my kids, you know, they could take that every day if they could, and I would be okay with that. You could definitely put different items in there. You could even infuse it with some thyme just to aid in that sickness, depending on what it is. So I did want to mention elderberry is my go-to, but if you are a little intimidated by elderberry, which was expressed in the last couple of videos, then let's get into this tea blend. So it's equal parts. I'm just going to prep this so I have it ready, and I'm just going to do 2 tablespoons each. So I have this lemongrass here. Lemon balm also works very well, but I don't feel like I would like that with my chamomile. This year I'm adding chamomile just for a calming effect, and I find the kids love chamomile tea, and they also love to grow it. So that's a fun one to grow with the kids because they can just pop the little heads off. But my son Y is awesome at plant identification, and I will say that's something that I've pushed as like a homeschooling mom right now. He is at preschool age, so we are doing our best, but my boy loves to be outside with me, and we find that a lot of his learning right now is very self-guided, and he just is such an inquirer. I worked at a IB school, International Baccalaureate, and I learned a lot there, and I find a lot of those principles kind of guide my way into motherhood as well. So that was all equal parts. All I do is have 2 teaspoons of each into my blend here. I'm just gonna mix it together quietly so we don't wake anybody up. And then all I do is put 2 tablespoons in the tea bag, tie it up here, and then I put it in a jar for safekeeping. So it is very easy. I wanted to keep it simple, like I said, and it's wonderful if you can grow these in the garden, but if you can't, find a trusted source. I said in the last video, Natural Grocers is awesome. They are just phenomenal when it comes to their practices, and of course they have some opinions I don't agree with, but I do really trust their food, and I love what they do for local communities. So if you have a Natural Grocers, I believe Vitamin Cottage is also associated with Natural Grocers, but I could be wrong. If you are a Natural Grocers expert, let me know in the comments. But yeah, very easy. Tea blends are super fun for me. I love having my little tea garden. I am rather new to having it though. I'd say I've had mine for about 3 years now, and I found what works for my climate. So I will say that find what works for your climate and find what works for your zone, because just because I'm in zone 5B in Colorado and so are you, it doesn't mean we're in the same area. I find we are just in this heat out here in Northeast Colorado, and it really affects my herbs as well as my other veggies and fruits back there. But My herbs, you know, I feel like they take a beating. So I find that keeping a sunshade over the tea garden has really helped with some of these medicinal and culinary herbs. I have a kitchen garden as well, which I keep a sunshade over, but it's not something that I immediately thought about. I didn't know what was going on with my plants. And a lot of people have said, you need to water your garden. Yes, I'm aware you water your garden. But this heat, you know, I can't keep up with the watering. It would have to be, you know, 5 or 6 times a day that I would be watering, and that's just not feasible, and you know, that costs money. So we also have a ban in my town right now for the water. I'm not supposed to use it during certain times of the day, so I found that that has been a little bit tricky, but they are pretty lenient on it. So that made 3 tea bags. We have 3 tea bags here. I think that will be just fine. I usually like to have 5 to 7 in my little jars, but that's just me having OCD. So yes, we made 3. This one was very easy. Please let me know in the comments down below what other things that you want to aid in. I've heard of high blood pressure. I've heard of diabetes related issues, and that hits home. I have people very close to me that are not suffering, but living with diabetes, and you know, there are a lot of different things that you could change about your diet to help out with that, but each individual case can be different. So again, I can't speak on that because I'm not a doctor. I am just giving you personal experience, and I'm a relatively healthy human being, but I have some ailments here and there, and I can trace them all back, and I'm so fortunate for that. I didn't mean for this video to be a deep dive into health, but I know some of you are feeling it right now, just some decisions being made that are just out of our hands. These last couple of years have been super scary when it comes to that. I was in the teaching profession, and there were many reasons why I left, but that was part of it. You know, I worked in a district that looked great on paper, and they looked great in the local news, but behind the scenes they were doing some shady things, especially when it came to employees. It just didn't seem like I had the collective decision making anymore. I didn't have my personal decision making, and that is another reason why I left. But getting back into herbalism, I did want to mention the Herbal Academy, which is on Instagram. I follow them on Instagram. They are running a little special, and you can sign up for free to get a free ebook of summer herbs. And I think it's great. I'm not affiliated with them. I just downloaded mine, and I can't wait to try some of these recipes. So if you are not finding things that are helpful through any links in my description box, let me know, and I will try and find more free things for you like that. The Herbal Academy is always doing little awesome specials like that, but you definitely just have to look around. That is where I find majority of my information. I just research it until my brain can't do it anymore, and I go with that, and then I try it. It's always about personal experience. I find that I value personal experience a lot more than some degree, but that's just me. And I did want to mention, I've gotten a few questions. Under my Amazon tab, I have a list of medicinal books of what I like, what I have on my apothecary shelf, but I always say go to your local library, check yard sales, check thrift stores, although those prices are going up as well, but check those places first before you go buying anything, because I guarantee you can find some sort of herbal book that could help you in your journey to just solving these issues with medicinal plants and flowers. Alrighty, my friends, that is it for today's video. I was trying to keep it short and simple to start your week off. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. These tea bags are just as easy as a regular bag of tea. You just steep it and sip it and hope for the best. Definitely keep yourself hydrated and get rest. That is key. Resting is key when it comes to those types of sicknesses. Again, I have to say, not a doctor, just a gal that likes to solve things a little bit more holistically. So again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I hope you found this helpful. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.